The only thing with Cardi that really, really, really hurt my feelings was the first interview she did.
Nicki Minaj's explosive beef with Cardi B is starting to look like the smallest problem in a life filled with chaos, controversy, and heartbreak. Because the woman once crowned rap's untouchable queen has watched her image crumble under scandals, personal tragedies, and backlash that refuses to fade. Born Onika Tanya Maraj on December 8, 1982, in St. James, Trinidad and Tobago, Nicki's struggles began long before fame. When her parents left her behind at just 3 years old to chase opportunities in America, forcing her to grow up with her grandmother among 11 cousins before finally reuniting with them in South Jamaica, Queens as an undocumented child chasing hope, only to walk straight into a nightmare of poverty and violence. Her father, a financial executive and gospel singer, secretly battled addiction to alcohol and crack cocaine, becoming dangerously abusive, selling the family's belongings, terrorizing the household, and ultimately setting their home on fire in 1987 while her mother was still inside, an act that could have killed them all and left emotional scars Nicki would carry forever. Escaping into fantasy and performance, she poured her pain into acting and music, attended LaGuardia High School, wrote her first raps as a kid, and hustled through countless dead-end jobs she kept losing because she refused to be silenced, channeling that same fire into her ambition until it propelled her to superstardom, breaking records with Pink Friday and becoming one of the most dominant female rappers ever. But even at the top, tragedy followed her. Her cousin was murdered. Then her older brother was convicted of horrific crimes against a child, a case that shocked fans even more when Nicki publicly supported him, paying bail and allegedly pleading for leniency, damaging her credibility and fueling criticism about her morals. And just when the family turmoil seemed unbearable, her father was killed in a hit-and-run accident in 2021, a devastating loss that closed the circle on a childhood already, marked by violence. Through every headline, feud, and controversy, Nicki's story feels less like celebrity drama and more like a life shaped by trauma, survival, and choices that continue to blur the line between sympathy and scrutiny.
And so I picked up and he was like, baby, book me my ticket for Monday. I said, okay. So happy. We were about to get some help because we hadn't been sleeping and there was a lot going on right after COVID.
Nicki had spoken to her father just the night before, making simple plans and expecting him to fly out soon to help her with her newborn son, a small, ordinary moment that felt full of comfort and family. But by the next day, everything had shattered when instead of welcoming him home, she received a devastating phone call that he had been killed, turning what should have been a joyful new chapter of motherhood into one of the most heartbreaking losses of her life.
And, so in the middle of the night, that night when I was sleeping, I got a call and it was my mother. And it's funny because the thing that happened that night was something that I had a dream about. I picked up the phone. Someone said, your mother's been in an accident. We don't know if she's going to make it. We'll call you back. And then I hung up the phone. That was the exact dream. In real life, I got that call, but it was about my father. It was my mother telling me that. So she was like, she was going to call me back and let me know.
Just like her mother decades earlier, Nicki had sensed a tragedy before it happened, haunted by a dream that felt more like a warning than imagination. But this time there was no way to outrun fate, no chance to protect the people she loved. And when reality finally hit, all she could do was face the heartbreaking truth she had already feared deep down.
He didn't get to meet my son.
Robert Marriage never got the chance to meet his grandson, Papa Bear, who was born only months before his death, a loss Nicki described as the most devastating moment of her life. Because despite the fire, the abuse, and the chaos of her childhood, he was still her father, and their relationship had slowly healed as he entered recovery and embraced faith, making his sudden hit-and-run death even harder to process. Her mother later filed a $150 million lawsuit against the driver, but the family felt betrayed when he received just a year in jail, a small fine, and a brief license suspension. As if grief and her brother's prison sentence weren't enough, Nicki's personal life sparked even more controversy when she married childhood friend Kenneth Petty in 2019, only for the public to discover his serious criminal history, including an attempted assault conviction as a teen, a manslaughter charge that sent him to prison for years, and later legal trouble for failing to register, followed by lawsuits and assault allegations that kept dragging her name into headlines. Behind the scenes, she was also fighting private battles, once admitting she considered ending her life when her career stalled, and later revealing a struggle with prescription painkiller addiction before eventually choosing sobriety and advocating for mental health awareness. Meanwhile, her career became overshadowed by explosive feuds, especially with Cardi B, with insults escalating into a physical confrontation and years of bitter personal attacks, while her political shift toward MAGA and appearances at conservative events alienated many longtime fans who once saw her as an icon of empowerment. Through it all, Nicki Minaj's story feels less like a simple tale of fame and more like a relentless cycle of trauma, controversy, survival, and consequences, a life where every victory seems shadowed by another storm waiting just around the corner.